In this video, we're going to show you how Microsoft Project can be used to show and display project variance in your project work, whether it be showing it on the Gantt chart or displaying project variance in terms of durations and costs. I'm sure you're going to find this most useful.
Now, before getting into the business of looking at your project variances, there's a few things you need to do. Obviously, you need to set a baseline for your project. And if you want some further details on that, simply look at video 19 of this Microsoft Project playlist. But there's also a few other things. You need to obviously have your tasks already set, your task sequencing should already be done, and the duration of your tasks estimated. In addition, you should also have assigned resources and also estimated these resources, particularly the costs, in order to make your project variances more worthwhile and more meaningful. So to begin with, please ensure that you are either in the View or Task tab, and then click on the drop-down menu there on Gantt Chart and select Tracking in Gantt. And you'll notice here that your chart now changes. You can see the bottom grey bar, which indicates the baseline, so the dates that we had originally set, as well as the actuals there in red, which is the critical path, and blue actuals that are not on the critical path. Just by way of example, let's assume that we make an adjustment to one of these tasks here. So imagine if we looked at creating the invitations and we realized that this was not going to take 5 days, but 10 days worth of work. Notice what happens. You can see that the actual tasks separate from the baseline, and the task that we made the adjustment to has extended beyond the baseline. Now, if we were to make a large delay, for example 50 days, you can see here that the Gantt chart has really separated itself quite some distance away from the baseline. Is there a way that we can connect these? Well, you can, and you can do this by going up to your Gantt chart format, and you'll notice here that there's an option for slippage. Select slippage. We are going to highlight the slippage from the baseline. You can see that we last saved that on the date, so we click baseline, and you can see we have these convenient dark blue bars which connect the baseline time frame to the actual tasks. Now I'm going to adjust this back to 10 days, and since it's close enough, I'm going to switch off the slippage just for simplicity. Now, if you want to actually observe what the actual variance is for each of the tasks, you can do this by selecting View and going to Tables and move away from Entry and select Variance. And notice what occurs here. You can see here that we are given a fair bit of information about the situation. We can see start, finish, baseline, finish, and what the corresponding variance is. And you'll notice that the task that we made the adjustment to, the start date is 0 days because there was no variance at the start, but there was variance at the conclusion by changing from 5 days to 10 days. And all of the tasks underneath that are also affected by that variance change due to the way that this project has been set up in its sequencing. So that's a useful thing to consider. What about costs? How do we observe cost variance in our schedules? Well, once again, go up to Tables and click Cost, and you'll notice here that we are presented with the total variance at the top, but also the task that has been affected by variance. You'll notice here that the task that we made the adjustment to, that we extended from 5 to 10 days, now has a variance of $1,000. Now, why is that? Why would that be the case? Why we only change time frames? Why would the cost be affected? Well, when you select and double click on that task, you'll notice if you select the Resources tab that we already have resources attached to the task. We have John at 50%. Now, if we were to reduce that time frame back down to 5 days, and we click OK, you'll see that the variance has got back to 0 because it's the same variance as the baseline. So the resources are as the baseline as originally planned. So if we select Undo and change that back, we have our variances returned to us for our reporting and for our observations. So you'll agree, it's a very, very useful provision from Microsoft Project to enable us to report and highlight the tasks that have made the changes and can be very, very useful to report up to your project board or your management. Thank you for listening to Performance with Project. We'd love to hear from you again. Please subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.